Hey, this is Jeff. I play drums for Kutless. All us guys, we just want to tell you some amazing stories that have happened in our lives as we release our new single, Amazed, to radio. One that comes to my mind is when I was 15 years old, my youth group and we went up to a festival called Creation Festival Northwest out in Washington. And it was over this huge gorge, this beautiful, beautiful area that God created. And there's a big stage at the edge of this gorge. And I remember one evening before the headliners Newsboys played, there's a speaker named Greg Laurie. And I listened to Greg most of my life, being a Calvary Chapel kid myself. And I remember him speaking, and he was talking about asking the Lord the desires of our hearts and what He's calling us to as a new generation. And I remember sitting at the top of this massive amphitheater that can hold about 50,000 people, and I remember journaling at 15 years old back in 1998. I said, Lord, if there's ever a chance that I could play on the stage one day, would you open the door? And 10 years later, as I was standing with my new bride, my wife, we were listening to Greg Laurie speak, and we're standing on the side of the stage, and Pastor Harry, who is the originator, the guy that started Creation Festival, and Bob Lenz, one of our good friends, he's a speaker, and some other guys, some staff guys of Creation were sitting on the stage as Greg was speaking. I remember Harry saw me, and there was a couple chairs open, and he waved my wife and I over to come sit on the stage with them as Pastor Greg spoke to the crowd. And I looked behind me, making sure he wasn't waving at somebody that's actually important, but he was actually waving at me. So we kind of snuck on there, and we sat down, and all of a sudden I had an epiphany. I remembered that day that I wrote those words down in my journal, and I looked at the spot at the top of that hill so far away, thinking about being a young man, and 10 years later, that night, we'd be headlining ourselves, and our band is Kutless. And it's just an amazing thing thinking about, Lord, you took this desire of a young man's heart out of all these thousands and thousands of people that came to see that concert. I'm sure thousands of them were musicians too, with the same hopes and goals and dreams. You chose me to be able to play that stage that night. And here we are in Corpus Christi, Texas tonight, touring with Newsboys. And it's just been an amazing thing that God has done in our lives, and I'm so thankful for it. So if you're in a spot in your life where you're asking the Lord to fulfill a dream that He's put in your heart, that He's written on the tablet of your heart, man, He's going to do some great things if you just trust in Him and if you follow His ways and follow the guidelines of the Word of the Bible, because those things are there to help us and to encourage us through this life and to make the decisions that we should be making to glorify the Lord. So I hope this encourages you. I hope you see it as amazing as I do, and I hope you enjoy the new song.